and welcome to the very next episode of The Remedy with Tova Sido and
Janice Gaunt and
Tom Bridwell.
Hello.
Hello.
You know, I like all of our names.
You do.
Like, we all have good names. We have good podcast names. Tova Sido, Janice Gaunt, Tom Bridwell. Those are all good names. You know, what if you were like, well, I don't know. I don't want to say a name because then we might offend a listener.
You might not want to do that.
But they're not generic.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing like super generic about our names. I like them. I think we
Me
have
too.
Good podcast name.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, we are continuing this week with a conversation we started last week on 19 signs that your partner may be cheating on you. So what we talked about was maybe you're experiencing one or two of these, probably not cheating. Maybe you're experiencing 5 or 6 of them.
Probably.
Might want to hire a PI.
Exactly.
You know, 15, call a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think the information here is really good.
I think it is too. I think it's really
I think it's pretty
good.
spot on.
Yep,
from what
me too.
we've experienced professionally and personally. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do.
Tom, have you ever been cheated on?
Yes.
Oh,
In college, I was cheated on when I guess it was college. I was 20, 21, 22, that period of time. And it broke my brain because it was the first time.
it broke my brain. That's
this
such
girl,
a great
I
thing
was
to say.
really, really in love with this girl, and she was older than me. So I don't know. I had a hard time.
Getting your arms around it.
Yeah. But then it made me really skeptical and not trusting. So the next few girlfriends that I had after, I kind of ruined those relationships by being
A psychoneurotic.
yes,
Yeah.
basically just always assuming that it was going to happen again. So
Yeah.
it took a couple of relationships to figure out how not to be that way.
Yeah.
And now I'm not like that at all. I mean,
Well, I think your marriage allows and affords you the opportunity to have a really secure attachment.
that is for sure. But also, I guess at some point, maybe in my late 20s, I just had some perspective on it, like that it could happen. If it does happen, it's not the end of the world. You just move on. There's plenty of fish in the sea, but you cannot live in fear. You have to just roll with it.
It's really good.
I agree with you, Tom, because I think that if once you've been cheated on, you can become kind of a paranoid psycho.
I was.
And it would
I
be
was a
because you
nut.
just could not. But once, if you've been cheated on, then you think, okay, then at least for where I am in my life, if something happened, I would be very unhappy and very sad. But I'm not going to jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's different. It's a different perspective about
Yes.
it.
I think, I guess I can only speak for me, but I got through it.
Yeah, you did.
And when you're in it and it happens the first time and you're in it, you can't imagine. I could not imagine ever. I mean, I remember coming to you and saying, when will this get better? Like, how long will this pain?
I think I probably said 2 years.
You told me 2 years. And it was about 2 years.
Yeah.
And you know, I've read sometime or at some point somewhere that the trauma that the brain experiences on someone who has been cheated on is equal to somebody who just got home from fighting in a war.
Well,
Like-
that makes perfect sense to me because it is so traumatic.
So
I mean, it's like somebody stabs you in the gut, and
Yes.
it's just
1,000 times.
Yeah,
1,000 times. You know, people tell me say all the time, about, not all the time, but when they hear that I've lost children, they're like, oh my God, that's just the worst thing that could happen. And I never really say this, but what I really think is it wasn't the worst thing that ever happened to me. The worst thing that I ever went through was being cheated on by Topher. And for me, and I can only speak for me, like, I loved my children. My children loved me. And the whole situation was completely out of my control. And yes, they died, but they died with love.
Well, yeah, and
There was no deception.
When
There was no.
when somebody cheats, you've just been so deeply
Violated.
hurt and violated. I mean, it's just like, how could you do that to me? Your partner,
Yes, to our family,
just
to our future, to our past.
And even if you're just dating somebody and somebody cheats, that's painful.
Oh, very,
It
very,
really
very,
is.
very painful.
Yeah.
That analogy of my brain when I found that out, equaling somebody who had just got back from war.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like I just got back from war.
Yeah, I'll
like
bet
that's
so.
what my brain feels like. You know what Anna Prince said one time, and I know I've said this to you, and it was brilliant. My kids knew that Topher had been unfaithful, but they didn't know to what extent, and they've never known the details. But Anna Prince, one time we were driving, and she goes, Mom, I don't understand why Dad cheated. And I go, yeah, it's really hard to understand. And she goes, I mean, if you think about it, it's just words. And I go, what do you mean? And she goes, I mean, if he wasn't happy, then he just could have said, hey, Tova, I'm not happy. And I'd like to fuck around a little bit. And so I'm going to leave. She was like, all he had to do was use his words. And I was like, out of the mouth of babes.
Yeah, really. Really.
All he had to do was use his words. And it would have been devastating that he didn't want to be married to me anymore. But to do that, it's just, it's just use your words. Like spare everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Trauma.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we started with the first 10 last week. This week we're going to talk about the back 9.
Yeah.
So some of these signs that maybe your spouse might be cheating. You want to take the first one?
Sure. They get defensive when you ask why certain things have changed. Relationships change and evolve, but this should be something you can talk about as a couple. If there is an innocent explanation for why some things have changed, there is no need for defensiveness. Coleman says, a cheater may answer a question with a question like, why do you ask? Or why is that important? Because they need more time to come up with an answer they can get away with, he says. Oh. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Oh. Like, why are you not wanting to cuddle with me all of a sudden? Yeah.
Why do we always have to cuddle every night? Like, why do sometimes I'm tired?
And then you're like, oh goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what? If you said to Tom, "Hey, I've noticed like our physical attraction has changed, and I want to talk about that," he would not get defensive.
No.
He would want to talk about that.
Yeah, he would.
And he would be kind and loving.
Yeah, he would never say, "Why do you ask that? Why is that important?" Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a defensive, go away, we're not going to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about the answer to that question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is a clue.
It is a clue. Good to know.
All right, Tom.
They start giving you more gifts than usual. Again, these pictures are hilarious. How many models did they have to go through to get all these goofy pictures of two couples looking ticked?
That's so true.
Of course, loving partners give gifts, but cheaters take this to the next level to cover their tracks. It can be a way of reassuring you that they love you and are devoted to you, so that any subtle sign of cheating the partner uncovers can be readily dismissed as something they would never do.
Yeah, unfortunately, this was not something
I
that
bought you those roses. I would never cheat.
Wouldn't be near enough.
No.
Give me a 3-carat one.
5. And let me keep it, and you still have to go away.
Yeah, exactly.
The next one, or they stop engaging in their typical love language. If your partner used to plan date nights, once craved physical affection, or would always prioritize acts of service, but has suddenly disengaged, it could be a red flag. Yeah, that's a... If the relationship has took a dramatic left turn and your spouse or significant other is not interested in engaging the way that they used to,
Yeah.
I think that's worth paying attention to.
Yeah, I think so too. I really do.
All right. You want the next one?
Yeah. Or they're suddenly really critical of you. There's something called cognitive dissonance that is an uncomfortable state of inner anxiety and tension created when a person's attitude about something, parentheses, cheating is wrong, is the opposite of what they're actually doing, cheating anyway. To try to reduce that inner tension, they may try to justify their cheating by trying to convince themselves that you're the problem. And that can come out as being hypercritical of you out of nowhere. I've had several couples come in and the guy has cheated, and then he says, well, she's just not being sexual enough, or it's not, just I don't get, just like I want to get a blowjob and she doesn't want to do that, and I'm like, then they cheated, and then you're like, okay, well, cry me a river. If something isn't working, talk about it.
Use
Go
your
to
words.
a therapist. Use your words. But you cannot justify cheating.
No.
You just can't.
And you can't blame your cheating on your partner.
That's exactly right.
And if your partner has cheated on you, please stop taking responsibility for his or her behavior. Oh, I just must have been. I did that with you. I did that with you. I said, I just probably should have been a better partner. I should have bought it. And you're like, will you stop it? I mean, you were actually hilarious. You don't remember it, but I do. You were like, did you take his wee-wee out of his pants? Did you unzip his pants and pull down his pants and pull his wee-wee out of his pants? I was like, no, I didn't shoot. And you said, then stop taking responsibility. I mean, and that's exactly what I needed to hear.
Mm-hmm. It
had nothing to do with me.
No, somebody cheats. It is not your issue. It affects you, but it's not about you.
No. It's not about what you did or did not do in the marriage. Mm-hmm. And if there's something wrong in the marriage, then use your words.
Yeah, exactly.
Take Anna Prin's 10-year-old advice.
That's
and
the
use
mantra. Use your words.
Okay, Tom, you want the next one?
Sure. It says you notice unexplained money issues. Large purchases or unexplained withdrawals can be an indication of cheating, but they can also uncover gambling or shopping addictions. Burns explains, noting that it's not unheard of to discover a cheating partner via things like Venmo transactions and bank deposits or withdrawals. It's best to confront your partner about it and see if their story makes sense. If the details don't align or your gut is still saying something feels off, be on high alert.
Interesting.
This is a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. Yeah.
I didn't pay attention until after I found out, and then I was like,
were there just so many signs?
wow, there's a lot of withdrawals.
Yeah.
Out of the ATM.
Oh.
And I'm like, what are we doing? What were we doing with those $100 bills?
Where were we? Where did we spend that money?
And they weren't mine. So I think this is worth paying attention to.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next one is very interesting. They accuse you of cheating. Oh my God. This is a weird but common habit of cheaters, and there are a few reasons for it.
Deflection.
Yes. By making your alleged behavior the issue, it puts you on the defensive and takes the focus off of them. Just like you said, Janice, deflection. It can also make you less likely to speak up about things that seem off because you don't want to upset them, given that they're already worried that you're cheating. And it also gives them a reason to say they need time away to think, aka meet up with their lover. Okay. This is after I found out about Topher's cheating.
Yeah.
I remember coming to you talking about this. I mean, I can't believe how many of these are spot on. But I remember one night, and we were still married, but it was so tense and really not good. And I poured a glass of wine and I went to go take a bath. I'd put the kids to bed and I was just not in a good headspace. And Topher was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm going to take a bath and I need to get away from you." And he was like, "So I have a question." And I'm like, "Okay, what?" And he's like, "Are you cheating on me?" And I just remember.
Is that why you're taking a bath? Because you're going to go cheat on me?
We have a sliding door in our bathroom, and I remember looking at him like he was the dumbest effing human on the planet. And I just took the sliding door and I slid it and I shut the door and locked it. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, now you're accusing me of cheating?" And I told you that story, and you're like, "Yeah, they always do that." And I'm like,
always do that.
What?
They always do. Are you
maybe you're
around?
the one cheating on me.
Yeah.
What?
If Tom came home and said, I don't know, it just feels weird. Are you cheating on me? I'd be like, I'm going to be doing some late night snooping. I would be like, what?
It is such a red flag, but I would have never known that. I was so appalled that this even was like, what in the world? But you told me it happens all the time.
All the time.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
But these people are fucking out of their mind trying to deflect their shit onto you.
That's exactly right.
That's horrible.
It is. Well, they're not the up, up and up sort of guy.
Yeah, they're really not. Wow.
No.
Okay. You want the next one? I'm getting all worked up over here. Starting to sweat.
They're really on top of your schedule. It can feel a little odd when your partner keeps asking when you will and won't be home. And it should. The cheater needs to know the time slots when they can have the freedom and flexibility to spend time with their new romantic interest. They work hard not to get caught.
That's an interesting
I
one.
gotta work. Oh gosh, I gotta work tonight. I gotta work late.
What are you doing? What are you doing today?
Yeah.
What's your schedule today? When are you going to be home tonight? Yeah. That's a subtle, but I mean, Craig and I ask each other all the time, "What's your schedule look like today?" But it's not because I'm trying to get my guy over while he's at Willow Bend.
I would rather slit my wrist than have a boyfriend.
Oh, me too.
Just, if something happened with Tom, well, I'm sorry. I'm just not interested.
My two best friends out of California, we always say if our husbands die or something happens, then we'll just all move in together.
Yeah.
Like we're just done.
Yeah.
Like I will not do this again.
Yeah.
I won't. I will not do this again.
Yeah.
I won't put myself through it. I won't put my kids through it. It's just too much. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to take all the money and go play. All of it.
All of it. Every freaking penny. Oh, gosh.
Okay, are you up, Tom?
Yes.
Okay.
They complain about you. If
course
once
they're complaining
playful
about it.
jokes or nabs begin to hit home a little harder than usual or feel especially cruel, it could be your partner's covert expression of dissatisfaction.
So if your partner is being like, wait,
Sassy.
critical
and
Critical,
everything.
and the jokes don't feel like jokes anymore. It
Oh,
feels like
so
you're
he's
really
just, it's
digging.
actually coming out of him that he's not a happy camper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's being critical or she's being critical.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not as cute as you once were to them. You know the feeling. Okay, I love this one. And this is the last one. You just have is this the last one? Yeah. You just have a gut feeling. In general, if your gut, AKA your intuition, is telling you something is wrong, it usually is. Our intuition is a superpower for survival that picks up on tiny clues or sensing when something feels off. So if there is a warning bell going off in your body, pay attention. In a healthy relationship, your partner should listen and be understanding when you raise your concerns and work with you to help you ease your fears and help you feel more secure moving forward. Bottom line, if your partner is showing any of these signs or things just don't feel right to you, it's perfectly acceptable to ask, what's going on? Hopefully, there's a perfectly reasonable explanation.
I guarantee if you say, what's going on? Very few are going to say, I've been cheating.
Been shagging the chick at the office. Oh, really? Tell me more.
Exactly.
Yes. But I do think
No, I do.
that our gut, I mean, I remember there was a woman that I worked with at the church. And this was probably 6 months before I found out about Topher. And we were very close. And she was asking me, how's everything at home? And, how are you doing? And I was like, I just feel like something's off with Topher. I was like, I don't know what it is.
Did it change? Was it real different? Did you?
Well, the thing.
How long were y'all married when you started feeling that?
Okay, great question. So Topher started cheating on me. He cheated on me for a long time, but it was with people who weren't local. Most of the people weren't here, and he never had a relationship. Never. So he'd go out of town, meet a girl at the bar, go to a strip club, and he traveled for work.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, when he was gone for work, I wasn't thinking, God, I need to check on him or call me tonight before you go to bed. I mean, I was putting the kids to bed. We had 3 little kids. Like, I was working at the church, blowing and going. I mean, we were busy. We had 3 kids. We had 6 sports teams. I was working full time. He was working. And so the relationship really changed when we adopted the kids. But I thought it was because we adopted the kids.
Well, yeah, and that was a big change in your lives together. Yes.
Huge change. And so some distance started to be created at that time. Mm-hmm. But I really just did we're just in the weeds. Everybody would say, oh, y'all are in the thick of it. And yeah, we are. We're in the thick of it. But Topher and I always just loved each other so much, and nothing changed about our sex life. And, I just thought we're raising 3 kids and we adopted 3 kids and, but most of these things were happening.
So...
And my gut told me something.
Why would he do that?
I think I never asked him why, but I think he was lonely. I think that he
was lonely because you were so busy with the
think so.
kids and everything.
and the church.
And the church. And everybody
Yes.
loved you so much.
Yes, and that was overwhelming for him.
Yeah.
He's very private. I wasn't, and our life wasn't. He did not like my job. He resented the fact that I was standing on a stage talking about our family. He didn't like that. He felt very exposed. And I think after our children died, he was so sad. And he, girls have community and friends, and I went to counseling, and his friends were like, they'd hit a golf shot, and in between golf shots, one of them would be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Yeah. Which is not. It's not counseling. It's not counseling, and it's not coping, and it's not dealing. And I think that Topher had always used sex to make himself feel better. And I think he was so sad and so lonely, and then so overwhelmed with the kids that it was a dopamine hit when he got to escape. And I believe to this day that Topher loved me as much as Topher could ever love anybody. But I think that he was lonely and sad and coping.
How long after the twins died did you adopt the kids?
It was, so Charlie died in 2003. Louisa died in 2005. And
it was the same disease, right?
Same disease.
Oh,
and
makes me sad.
And so we were without children for 5 years. But I went straight into working for the church, and I was knee deep, head down, and I was busy. And I just kind of threw myself into that. And that was really a healthy, wonderful coping mechanism for me. But I think it made Topher feel more lonely and more isolated. But Topher never told me. He never talked to me about it.
Well, and I think that there are some guys who would be intimidated by your following and you standing up in front of that huge congregation and preaching and people loving you, and and it would take someone that has a lot of self-confidence themselves and believe that they are as successful as you were.
Absolutely.
But if you don't have that sort of that security about yourself and that self-esteem, I can see that he needed somebody not quite as much as you.
Yeah, it's true.
And you were too much.
I was too much. And then think about it. I'm talking about these things from a pulpit, that he had to have been sweating to death in church about the things that I was standing for, And yes, he was like, Craig is the biggest cheerleader. He's so proud of me, and he is not threatened by me at all. Whenever anybody says, "Oh my gosh, Tova is just blah blah whatever," he's like, "I know." And Topher was always embarrassed by me. He was like, Tova,
he's just insecure. He had no self-esteem.
He had no self-esteem, and so I totally forgive Topher. I don't carry any of that. I actually have a heart for him, and I feel terrible that he probably was lonely.
Yeah.
And I wish that he gave our marriage a chance to help that instead of it distancing and furthering his pain. We've never had this conversation. This is just all my thoughts and feelings, but I have apologized to him for my part in our marriage, and it makes me cry because not because I love him or I want to be married to him, but like, hurt people.
But you didn't hurt him.
No, I didn't. I don't think it was my fault, but I think he was hurting so bad that he didn't know what to do with it, and he didn't know how to fix it, and he didn't know how to face it, and he didn't know how to talk about it.
After the babies?
Babies.
Yep.
And so he turned around, and that hurt caused him to have the ability to hurt me. And he didn't mean to, and he didn't set out to do it. And when he got caught, he was devastated.
Well, and it was a form of medicating his pain.
Totally. And
and that would
and that allows me the opportunity to forgive him.
Of course.
And we were together this weekend at the kids' games. We have dinner together with our kids, and I don't want to be married to him. I care about him. I wish him the very best. I forgive him completely, and it's over.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that took a while. I didn't do that the day after.
Of course.
I wanted to Lorena Bobbitt him.
Yeah.
But, people, there's no excuse for cheating.
No.
But there are reasons.
Yeah. And the thing is that if you are wondering about it, then I strongly suggest that you either go with your partner to a therapist and y'all have a really big conversation about it, or you have to start thinking in terms of what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Am I going to stay in this relationship if he is cheating and if he continues to cheat? So
and maybe you individually start having those conversations with a therapist.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't know how you go through a divorce without a good therapist.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. And if you suspect any of these things, go talk to somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there is good help from somebody who can help you see things that you may not see.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you get divorced, it's not the end of the world.
No, it isn't.
I thought it was.
But
It's not. And you can do it.
And if you do get a divorce, you can have a very positive relationship with your ex.
Yeah.
Every time I go to Owen's football game, Kurt's there, and Kurt and I sit together. That's my ex. And we have a very good friendship.
Yeah.
And Tom doesn't care, and he's still Kurt's father of my children,
of course.
The grandparent of my grandchildren.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of things that when you're in the midst of it that feel like it's the end of the world, but it really isn't.
Yeah. And you'll get through it.
You will get through it.
And it'll be okay. And your kids will be okay. And it's all going to be okay.
Yeah, it is.
Time and therapy.
Yeah.
Help a. They forgive lots of sins.
They do.
So, I think this was super helpful.
Me
I wish
too.
this came out when I was going through this.
I know.
Could have really helped me.
Yeah.
So we
it
hope
was really good.
Helps you, and we hope you have a wonderful week. And if you are cheating,
stop it.
Yes. Stop it and go get help.
Yeah.
And like Anna Prince says, use your words. Like, go fix what is broken instead of deflecting and numbing and
medicating
coping.
with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please. Like, the pain that you will ensue on your spouse, your relationship, and your family, I don't care how good that orgasm is, it will never be worth it.
Well, and if you're doing it because you're not happy with your wife or your husband,
get out.
Then, but it affects your children.
Deeply.
So, yeah.
Just fix your problems. Don't medicate.
Yeah.
And cheating is medicating.
Yeah, it is.
So, okay. Well, have a great week. Thank you, Janice. You're so good at this. You are.
Thanks, Tova.
Y'all have a great week.
Have a great week.